Hi, how to find the grid intersection in Tekla structure? This is the question that almost every beginner asks. So let's see how we can find the grid intersection in Tekla structure. So here I'm in Tekla structure, the grid has already been placed. So let's see our project. So I have already created a WPF project and set the MVVM pattern using Caliburn Micro, one of my favorite framework, and I have already installed the Tekla Nugget package. So if you want to follow along with me, you can download the starter project from the link in the description. And let's see how we can find. Let me explain a little bit about this project. So currently this project is empty. There is no code behind. I just set up the XAML file, a UI, and shell view model. There is basically nothing. If I run this project, so here our UI, and these are two buttons. Currently it's doing nothing. Create in a folder. Let's call it grid utilities. So I just defined a two namespace, the Tekla structure model and Tekla structure model UI, which we're gonna use. So get grid is just basically return a grid from the model. So let's define as one static method. Let's call it get. So first we need to define a selector. So let's check if the grid has already been selected in the model. If that's the case, so here basically I'm using a link. So I'm saying here is if selector is get selected object get enumerator and dot to list. Basically it's returning only grades. So here we need to check if g that count is greater than or equal to 0. return G first element, else. So here we need to define a picker where we ask user to pick the grid. So let's pass the message to the user, please. Let's for now returning null. Basically, we can ask again here to pick. We can again call a picker class here to ask to the user to pick again grid. It's a while loop we can create here, but for now, for sake of this demonstration, we just leave. Basically, this is not an else. It should be, because if this method reach here, so we're returning here, we're not going further. Now we need another class which can get the grid levels. So let's call it get. So let's define one public static method which will return basically observable collection of string. So let's call the select method to update the grid properties. So grid has a labels, so we need to get the set label. So levels dot add Right. Let's see if these methods work fine. So we need to go back to shell view model. Let's create a property. So first we need to add again let's create one method, public void, call it get levels. So here we can say grid equal get grid. Once we get grid back from our method, so we need to add this observable collection of levels equal grid, what we called grid, get grid levels, get grid levels dot get. So we need to pass a grid, pass this. If we run this project, here we go. So level has been added into the list. So let's see if grid has not been selected. Okay, now picker is asking to pick the grid. So same result. That's okay. So let me explain one thing here about Caliburn Micro. As you can see, when I created this method called get level. So how shall view connected to this method? Well, actually, the Caliburn Micro is highly work on naming convention. If name thing matching with the names, then it's work fine. Like in this button, I have named like a get level. So it knows, it go back to the view model and look if method or any property associated with this name. So it's just calling that method automatically. So that's really I like about Caliburn Micro, that we don't need to call this method or code behind, or we need to create a relay command. You may thinking that I'm actually calling the relay command here, the command which is binding to the command. Well, actually it's not, because before Caliburn Micro I tried with relay command and I forgot to remove that. So let me remove this and run again the project. Hopefully result should be the same. Yes. So let's move forward. Let's create another class. We can call them get intersection plans. Add some using statements. So we need one method first, public static list of 3D data point. So we can call it get intersection stake grid parameter grid. get the grid plan. So grid dot get children dot to list tsm dot grid plan. So we are using a link method here. So we need to get grid plan from grid plan to a plan. So we can do grid plans, grid plans dot for so this is because this is I list. So we need to do a dot to list. Then we can directly use for each p goes to plans dot add p dot plan, and we return get intersection points, which is plans. We don't have this method, we just need to create. So let's say public list of ts3d dot point. Let's call this private. We're not going to expose this. It will take a list of tsm.plan grid plan. So to variable points equal new list of points. Variable geometric plans. We need to convert that plan into a geometric plan. So we convert plan to geo plan. It will take a list of plan. So which is basically grid plan. Now again, we don't have this method right now, so let's create it first. This method in private static list of ts3d dot geometric plan. Let's initialize a new empty list. So now we can do plans dot for each p goes to geoplan dot add a new geometric plan, which is p dot origin, p dot x, p dot y, and we just simply return geoplan, right? Okay, now we have this, so we can do distinct dot to list. Well, actually, we're not here, doing something wrong. So now we need to go for each variable geoplan and geoplans. Let's create another method for loop. Sorry, let's create another loop for loop geoplan.count, and now we need to check if ts3d dot parallel dot plan to plan geoplan and geoplans of I, if not parallel, that is geoplan.count. So ts3d dot line, let's call it intersection ts3d dot intersection dot plan to plan geoplan and geoplans of I, if if intersection is different than null, then points dot add intersection dot origin points, right? So now we need to remove or duplicate here. Distinct method dot to list. Object required a static field. Yes, so we need to call these method static. Right, so now it's already called static. So now we need another method to draw a point into a model. So let's call it public static void draw point. Let's take list of 3D points and string level, which level is basically we select from combo box from drop down which level we want to get intersect. less points to draw. Points dot for each. Points dot find all. X goes to X dot Z equals 0. Points to draw dot for each. P goes to P dot Z equal Z level. Well, actually concatenate to Z level. So now we need to for I dot points to draw dot count draw dot draw text I dot to string points to draw I. So let's see if it's work. So we need to go back to a shell view model. Let's see what I called to remove this. So I call it find intersection. Let's copy this and create a public void method with the same name. And now we need to call this class dot get intersection and pass to grid. Yes. Intersection points. So dot draw point intersection point and the level is actually levels. Sorry, that's a current level, not a level. The current level is basically selected text from the combo box. So let's build and run the project. Build succeeded. Yeah, this worked fine. There we go. So if I select first floor, on first floor, select another floor. So the second method we can get the intersection of grid is basically from line. We need to create a lines rather than grid plans and then get intersection from lines. Let me know guys if you want to see that method as well. So I'll try to create another video which will show how to do that, which is basically a little bit longer than this one. So hopefully you get useful it, and thank you for now. And if you have any comments, please write below, and see you next time. Bye.